You probably say okay every day. You text it, you say it when you agree, when you understand, when you want to end a conversation, and sometimes when you are clearly not okay but do not feel like explaining the whole thing.
Okay.
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 It is so normal that it almost feels invisible. But that is exactly why it is interesting, because ordinary things are usually where the weirdest human stories hide. And okay has one of the strangest. This is not just a story about two letters. It is the kind of story you can casually drop in a conversation and make someone say, "Wait, seriously?" Because once you know where OK came from, you will never see that little button or reply the same way again. So, the story starts in late 1830s in Boston. Picture a newspaper office. Ink, paper, editors writing sharp little jokes into columns most people would forget by breakfast or lunch. At the time, newspapers had a strange little trend. Writers liked taking normal phrases, spelling them wrong on purpose, then shortening them into initials. For example, "Our first men" became OFM, "No Go" became NG, "Gone to Texas" became GT, "All Right" became OW. Then they misspelled the "all correct" to "all correct, and that became OK in short for newspaper printings. So yes, people were doing text slang before texting existed. They just did it in waistcoats, and some of it was ridiculous. There was even an abbreviation called OKKBWP. That meant "one kind kiss before we part," which sounds less like a newspaper joke and more like someone's grandfather inventing texting during a candlelit breakup. Most of these jokes disappeared exactly where they were born. In yesterday's paper, nobody says NG for "no go now." Nobody ends a meeting with OW all right, but one of them stayed. On March 23, 1839, the Boston Morning Post printed "OK all correct" in a sarcastic little newspaper item. It was not a huge headline. Nobody opened the paper and thought, well, there it is, the future of human conversation. It was just a small joke in a local newspaper squabble. Imagine helping create one of the most recognizable words in the world while tossing off a newspaper joke. Most jokes vanish by lunch. This one found a way out. But even then, OK should have died with the rest of the fad. What saved it was politics. In 1840, President Martin Van Buren was running for re-election. Van Buren came from Kinderhook, New York. His nickname was Old Kinderhook. So, Old Kinderhook, you see the pattern? Yes, right. His supporters saw those letters and jumped on them. They formed OK clubs. They used slogans like "Vote for OK." Suddenly, this tiny newspaper joke had campaign posters. That is when OK stopped being just a joke in Boston. It became a political slogan. To be clear, Van Buren did not invent OK like some sources claim on the internet. His campaign helped spread it. The newspaper joke was the spark. The campaign handed it a megaphone, and then Universe had some different plans for him. Old Kinderhook lost. His opponent, William Henry Harrison, beat him in 1840. So, Kinderhook lost the election, but the slogan stayed alive. Once OK entered politics, people started twisting it into jokes, insults, and origin stories. One story claimed Andrew Jackson, the 7th U.S. president, used OK because he supposedly misspelled "all correct." That was a good insult, but weak history. Another theory said OK came from the Choctaw language word "okay," which means it is agreed in Choctaw tribe community. That one was taken seriously for a while. Even Woodrow Wilson, the 28th U.S. president, later preferred the spelling "okay." There were other theories too. Basically, once OK became famous, everyone wanted a better origin story for it. But the strongest evidence still points back to Boston in 1839, then Van Buren's 1840 campaign. That explains how OK got attention, but it stayed because it kept finding work. In the 19th century, telegraphs changed how fast information could move. Messages were tapped across long lines, and short confirmations mattered. By 1865, OK was already being described as part of the language of telegraphers. A telegraph operator did not need a beautiful sentence. He needed something quick, received, understood, all correct. OK. Two letters could save time, space, and confusion. Then computers made OK almost impossible to escape. You click OK to confirm, close the box, accept the warning. So, a joke from an 1839 newspaper became a button on your screen. Not a bad career for 2 letters. And today, okay is still changing. In a text, okay can sound normal. Okay can sound warmer. Okay with a period can feel like something is wrong, and just K can make the whole room feel colder. Then there is okay boomer, where okay does not really mean agreement. It means, I heard you and I am done with this conversation. Same 2 letters, different century, different meaning. So where did okay come from? The best supported answer is simple. It first appears clearly in print in Boston on March 23, 1839, as okay, all correct, from the joke spelling all correct. Then Martin Van Buren's 1840 campaign spread it through old Kinderhook and the OK clubs. Then telegraphs, computers, and modern life kept giving it new jobs. So the next time you type OK, say OK, click OK, or send the colder K. Remember, you are not just using 2 letters. OK began as a joke, but people kept it because it did something simple. It helped them agree, confirm, move on. And honestly, that is pretty okay.
Okay.
If you want more strange stories behind everyday things, subscribe and comment anything you want explained next. Because the things you use every day are usually much weirder than they look.